What's up guys, and welcome to another Tacklewest video. And this week I want to run through some of the new product that we've had in both of our stores. We've quite a number of orders arrived with a heap of new product. A lot of product's been restocked as well, and I just want to run you through a couple of things. So let's kick it off, and we're going to start with the ASWB lures. So if you're not familiar with this brand, they're a local company. They specialize in GT lures, so he makes some absolutely outstanding GT lures, which we've got a whole cabinet here. I'm going to give you a look at them. But he's recently, probably about a year ago, made a plastic stick bait. So they're called a Flutter drop, and we've just had a decent restock of these this week, but I want to give you a look at them. So they're a nice sinking stick bait. They come in a 40 and a 50 gram model. They're both 130 mils long, but the weight changes. So depending on what you're doing, as what kind of casting you're doing, as to what weight you would go. But they make some really awesome colors. There's a Fusilier one, white bait, pink Fusilier, glow goblin color, blue bait, sardines, a cracker, look at that. So one thing I really like about these lures is just how easy they are to use. They're not a hard lure to work, and they have a really good action. So as the name suggests, they're called a Flutter drop. So this lure, when you cast it out, it's best to allow it to just sink for a minute, or 20 seconds or something like that. And the lure itself is fluttering on the drop. Then you can work the stick bait. So you don't need to work these super fast. Tend to work them with a long sweeping action and a good pause. And on the pause, the lure is obviously falling and dropping. Another thing with these lures is the finish is really good on them. So for a plastic lure, they're pretty durable. The paint jobs are really good, but they hold up to a fair amount of punishment. They also come rigged with BKK treble hooks. Depending on what fishing you're doing, you might want to upgrade them to maybe a more heavy duty single hook, but for a lot of our local fishing like tailor, salmon, the trebles will be fine. They are BKK, so they're pretty durable, but if you're heading up north, I generally recommend guys upgrade the hook to maybe like twin BKK Lone Diablo single hooks. That would tend to probably be a little bit better for up north fishing. But again, it's another local brand that makes a really good product. There's a lot of really good colors in the range. He hasn't got a bad color, put it that way. Anyway, they've been restocked at both of our stores. I'm going to put a link in the description where you can check them out on our website. But that's one of the products. Let's move on to the next thing, shall we? Okay, so moving on to the next products for this week that we've had restocked is a bunch of HPA gear. Now, if you're not familiar with HPA, it's a French company that makes some absolutely outstanding storage gear. So they make a range of backpacks, duffel bags, jig wallets. They also make really good pair of split ring pliers. They just make a lot of really good storage solutions. So we've just had a restock again at both of the stores. Beckingham copped a few of these, and we've definitely got a few of them here at the Osborne Park store. But what I wanted to show you is their HPA Jig King system. This is jig storage for your metal jigs, demersal jigs, or any of those type of bottom fishing jigs. But it's called the Jig King. Now, all of their material, it's kind of like a semi-waterproof material, so it's extremely durable. It's great for on the boat. Now the good thing about these Jig King bags, okay, is they house 2 premium quality jig wallets. So they've got one for your long jigs, which has elastic bands, or the straps in them are elastic, so your jigs aren't going to slide out. So there's one for your long jigs, and they do one here for your shorter jigs. These have just come back into stock. Now they come in a nice little housed pouch. You can put your leader, you can put your assist hooks, anything like that, you can put in the top there. So that's one thing that's just come back into stock with HPA, and they're called the Jig King. Next up, for the long jigs, we've just had the HPA Jig Wallet come back into stock. Just another style of jig storage, which they're good for if you got a bulk amount of jigs. You can, all different sizes for your long, medium, small jigs. Again, in that premium waterproof type material. Next up, we have the HPA popper roll. Now these are one of the most popular storage solutions we have for big GT lures and stick baits, and if you're into any of that fishing, you'd probably be pretty familiar with these as being one of the best storage solutions for those big lures. So what they are is they're a roll essentially, so you can stack them full of lures, roll it up, and they're stored all nice and neat, securely in the popper roll. You can have it as a longer bag, or however you want to have it stored up, you can have it. But the good thing about these is you can actually clean your lures. So you can fully clean your lures, and you can hang the popper roll up outside and let it dry out, because it's got all the holes on either side. So great for all your GT lures, great for your big trolling lures as well. I had a restock at both stores of these, so HPA popper roll, check them out in store, and I'll link them as well, so you can have a link to them on the website. Now if you haven't popped into either of our stores recently and you're really into brim fishing, I suggest you pop back in over the next couple of weeks as you see our brim range really starting to expand. We're really trying to build a really good quality brim section, and if there's anything that you really want to see in store, drop us a comment down below and let us know what you want to see. This week we've had a couple new items come into stock, so I'm going to give you a quick look at them. Now back to zip baits again. We did have some zip baits arrive last week, and we've had another batch of zip baits arrive this week, but these ones are a little bit different. So these are the Camsons. Now if you do any brim fishing, you'd be pretty familiar as this being one of the best brim lures going, but we normally only ever kept the DR models. We're starting to get a bit more of a ask for some shallow running lures. So we've got the Camson Junior. We've got the Camson Junior in the shallow runner. So these ones, they've only got a very small bib on them, as you can see. So they don't dive extremely deep, but they're great for shore-based fishing. The other week I was shore-based fishing up in Shelley, and I was using a DR, and I just found it was just diving too deep. The water was semi-low tide, and fishing with a DR lure, I was getting snagged a couple of times, and I just wasn't getting the bites, and I thought, that's really where I wanted a shallow runner. One of these in a shallow would have been perfect. Yeah, we've decided to put them into stock and run the shallow runners as well. So again, with Zipbaits, they had that mag drive system, as I showed you last week, where the magnetic weight will actually move in the lure. So when you cast, the weight runs to the back of the lure, helping the lure travel straight, and you get a much better cast. So, Zipbaits and shallow runners, they're all in stock. Okay, next up in the brim lures, we have the new Micro Mussel. These have just arrived. Now, it's another local guy making these, and they're pretty cool, as the name suggests. They're just a little mussel lure for brim, and if you know anything about brim, they absolutely love eating mussels. So there's two weights available in these. They do them in a light and a heavy. One is 2.9 grams and the heavy one is 4.4 grams. There's 4 different colors available, so they do obviously the standard black mussel, which most guys tend to be buying. They have a pink, kind of a pink Mussel, a blue tinged Mussel, and then a white Mussel, or a whitey black Mussel. So they're new. They've been working pretty bloody well. Okay, so next up, it's not so much fishing gear, but it's clothing. And we have an absolute stack of Salty Crew clothing just arrived. So there's all different sorts of shirts, performance shirts, board shorts, and an absolute stack of hats that we've had arrive, along with all of our other fishing clothing, all the Daiwa and Nomad clothing, the big fish stuff. This Salty Crew gear is really awesome. So we have all the flanos, water resistant, premium quality flanos, a whole range of short sleeve cotton tees. It's all the standard Salty Crew gear. The hats. There is, if you can't find a hat that you like in this store, then you're probably not going to find a hat that you like anywhere, because we have absolutely stacks of them. Killer board shorts again, and more hats. Hats for days. We've also got some of their offshore jackets. So these are water resistant, premium quality. Lastly for this week, we've received a pretty decent Daiwa top up, and we finally have LD20 Saltiga reels. A good amount of stock of these. So these have been pretty hard to get. A lot of the smaller Saltigas, Daiwa are out of stock at the moment on a lot of them, but we managed to secure a good batch of LD20s. These are friggin' awesome for bottom fishing, for light jigging, any kind of demersal fishing that you're doing locally. You spool them up with 30 or 40 pound braid, and they're friggin' awesome for it. So we've had a big restock of these come back in. So a great thing about these LD20 reels is they hold a stack of line. This particular model will hold 400 meters of PE3 braid, which is an absolute ton. You can change the handle. There's a couple of different adjustments on the handle where you can pull that out. So if you're jigging with it, I generally like to pull the handle out to the longer length, and it makes it a little bit more comfortable when jigging. So these have been a really popular one for all the guys that are bottom fishing and light tackle jigging. They're super lightweight. They've got a really good drag system in them for braided lines. They're a really powerful reel, so if you watch any of my previous videos, you'll see I'm using the LD10 a lot. Well, this is just a bigger version of the LD10. It holds more line, but the physical reel, the internals of the reel is the same. So these have been a real popular one. Really good drag system. It is really smooth and it's braid ready. But they're finally back in stock, so if you want to get yourself a nice new little jigging reel or little overhead reel for bottom fishing, come and get them while we have stock. Daiwa Saltiga LD20. Okay guys, well that's everything new for this week. I'm going to link all those new products in the description so you can check them out on our website, or you can just come in store and grab whatever you like. But thanks for tuning in, and I'll see you in the next video.